So now we're going to move on to a couple of lightning talks. So these talks will be shorter and just really give us a very, very quick flavour of something. The first of these talks is by Abby Barker, who is a librarian from Barnsley College. So we're now moving to, I guess, what do you call it, FE sector? I don't know. She can tell you a little bit more. And it's quite interesting. It's looking at the travelling reading chair. So that will be a bit different. And then Helen Lawrence, who is a community reading facilitator for the Reading for Wellbeing project, which is at Durham County Council. She will be talking about this project, the Reading for Wellbeing project, and what they've learned from it. So I can't quite remember how long each speaker has, but I'm going to try and build in 5 minutes at the end for questions. So I've got a little time to remind me there when I need to stop you. But if both those speakers could try and sort of make sure that they don't overrun, that would be lovely. Okay, thank you. So first up, Abby.
Hello, can I just check that everyone can hear me before I start? Give me some
nods.
Thank you, excellent.
You beautifully.
Okay. It's a brand new microphone that I've not used before. So hello, I'm Abby Barker. I'm the librarian here at Barnsley College. So we're a mixed FE-HE and we're in South Yorkshire. I'm going to talk to you about our travelling reading chair and how we got it up and running. Next slide, please. So Barnsley College is based over several campuses. Some are within walking distance of each other and some are a little bit further out of town. We currently have one central library, which is based in the big red building there in the middle. That's where I'm based. Our HE building is being completely gutted and refurbished. So at the moment, everybody's squished in together. And one of the library's main remits for this year is to get more of our students and staff across the whole college reading for pleasure and to boost our literacy rates. Next slide, please. We chose to do this by emphasising the wellbeing aspects of reading for pleasure, using the University of Liverpool's research that shows that people who read for just 30 minutes a week are more likely to be satisfied with their lives. I started here in July last year. As part of my interview, I was asked to come up with literacy initiatives, one of which was my daughter's, which was use the library or die, but I thought I'd go with mine, which was the idea of a chair that could be mobile and visit all the campuses. Rather than relying on the students coming to us, we'd go out to them. The majority of our students are not library users. They haven't grown up using libraries. It's not something they're familiar with. And I thought that taking the library out to them kind of takes away that leap into the unknown for them. They don't have to walk through our doors because we're walking through theirs. The more I thought about the chair, the more I liked it. I think a 30-minute session and a comfy chair where you can't be interrupted with a book, to me, that's my idea of heaven. I was hoping I could persuade some others of that as well. So I did some research. I formulated a plan. I offered to pay for the chair out of my own budget, which I think swayed the initiative. Ran it past my line manager, my head of department, and the senior learning team, who all absolutely loved it. So next slide, please. So my idea behind the chair is to model reading. So we know that works at home, often unconsciously. If you're at home with your children or housemates or partner, if you pick up a book, they'll do the same. I know my children do. Or if you see somebody out and about reading, you're more likely to think, oh, I've got a book in my bag. Or actually, I was reading a book on my phone. I'll do that while I wait. I wanted to see if this would translate to a college setting. So if we had the chair with a member of staff in it, at different places around the building and different places around the campus, would the students see their tutors or see the people who serve them lunch or see the woman who runs the library or the coffee shop in that chair and think, oh, actually, I might read. Oh, that looks like a good book. I'll go and talk to them about it. This also needs to be something that was ongoing. We couldn't just have a lovely, shiny one-off event and then leave it. So the chair is a permanent fixture and we can now follow that on its journey and the journey with our students rather than just a continuous project rather than a one-off event. Next slide, please. So big drum roll for this because the next picture is the chair. We wanted the chair to stand out. It needed to be instantly recognisable. Oh, yeah, there's the library chair. And after a lot of research, we settled on this IKEA classic in the brightest colour. There was a lot of talk about, oh, can't we go for grey, it'd fit in more. No, absolutely not. wanted to, you should have seen the chair that I actually wanted. It had peacock design on, was fabulous, but way beyond our budget. So that's what we've got, a bright yellow chair, and it's known as the Yellow Library Chair. Next slide, please. So we bought the chair last year. My wonderful team put it together over the Christmas vacation. I had nothing to do with the construction, and we launched the chair in January. It was based in the library, in that photograph there, opposite the issue desk, and we advertised it on our staff intranet, which we still use when the chair is back in the library and available to sit in. If I could have the next slide, please. So after we'd advertised it, I found a booking system that I wanted to use, and I chose Pick Time, which allows me to see who's booked it, sends reminders to me, sends reminders to the person who has booked it, and has worked really well. If you could move on to the next slide, please. This is some pictures of the chair out and about. When I ran with this, I said I wanted to go to the farm, and everybody laughed at me. And the first people to book it were the farm. Actually, could you, I think it's a couple of slides, just until you get to the pictures. There we go, some doggos. So next slide shows you, there you go, the reading chair down at Fleets, and the reading chair being used in business, the reading chair being used by dogs. And at the moment, oh, there you go, that's the shot. 3 teenage boys reading for pleasure. Perfect. The chair is at the minute down at Park Road, which is one of our campuses here in town, and I had confirmation on Friday that the first chair nap has been had, which I'm really, really pleased about. Over the summer, the chair will go back to Wigfield Farm for reading sessions, and I'm also going to launch the Summer Reading Challenge for staff. I've spent £5,000 this year on new stock to make the offer a bit more appealing, and we're just going to run with it from there and see where we go. It's still very early days. I'm more than happy to answer your questions about it. Yeah, and I've actually got some great ideas from people who've already talked, so thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Abby. Right, and next up, as I said, it's Helen. So are you there, Helen?
I am, I'm here.
Okay.
Hi, everybody. Thank you. So I did speak to this conference last year, if anybody remembers that. I did speak about when we just launched the programme. We launched really in January 2022. So what I wanted to do today is just a bit of an update and just some of the key things that we've learned now. We're more sort of about 18 months in. Next slide, please. So a little bit of background for anyone that doesn't know. So Reading for Wellbeing was spearheaded by author Anne Cleves. She provided some initial financial backing, and she challenged local authorities to take it on. She said if she would pay for one reading coach, would local authorities kind of match that with their own? It's gone really above and beyond that. We now have 5 local authorities. We have 5 more local authorities that are currently kind of in the process of signing up, so that'll be 10 hopefully in a few months' time, which is amazing. The thing that makes this a little bit different is we are totally focused on reading for pleasure. It's not about a prescriptive list. It's different to books on prescription, which is run in public libraries over the years. This is purely about people picking up a book and doing it for the enjoyment of it, reading something that they enjoy, and then we're focusing on how that can help improve their well-being. We mainly work with vulnerable adults and families, and we work with a lot of people with mental health difficulties or facing chronic chronic pain, long-running physical conditions and challenges, things like that, and it's just about how we can help them to feel a little bit better. In County Durham, we're based in Stanley and Towlow. Next slide, please. So one of the key things that I've found is that it's really important to build relationships with people. It takes a lot of time. I've found people are quite cynical. So I've gone in, I've kind of linked up with existing community groups, and people in those groups are quite cynical because they've had people come in before and, with ideas and initiatives, and then it kind of peters out and you never come back. So it took a little bit of time to break those barriers down. And I found just spending time drinking a lot of tea and just chatting to people about sort of the kind of any hobbies that they had or the things they might like to read, and kind of build up that little picture. And then when I see them again, I'll take books in with me that I think they might like little suggestions. Sometimes I'm spot on, sometimes I'm way off, but that's how I've sort of built it up that way. Generally speaking, I found people actually just want someone to chat to, and a new face, and somebody will just kind of sit there, spend that little bit of time, really helps people to open up. Next slide, please. I've discovered there's a lot of emotions tied up in talking about reading. It's a very personal thing, and you kind of tapping into something. Again, think of that idea that it takes people a little bit of time to open up about it. Some people are really quite ashamed of the fact that they don't read. It's something that they feel they should be doing, or they know it's a good thing for them to do, but they don't, and they're a bit ashamed about that. Some people are quite sad because due to changes in their lives and their circumstances, they don't read anymore. They used to do it a lot. They used to love it. Now their lives are different and they don't have the chance. A key factor for us is just start from where you are. So don't berate yourself for the fact that you've let your reading habit go. Just start from now, today, and what's going to work for you in your circumstances now. And how can I help and support that? Oh, thank you. Audiobooks can be a really good gateway back into a reading habit. I've had lots of success with people who, for many reasons, holding a physical book, either because they find it painful to hold the book, or they're just kind of totally out of that habit. They found audiobooks a fantastic way to get back into it. I've got one lady who, fantastic success story with audiobooks, absolutely loves them. Her family have got into them as well, because she found she'd have them on like in the kitchen while she was making the tea, or while she was knitting in the living room. A son really enjoyed the story that he was listening to, and now he listens to audiobooks. It's just been a really good way, and it feels like less pressure. People are quite used to sort of having headphones on and listening to, you know, the radio or a podcast or something else. So an audiobook is a good way in for people. Next slide, please. Okay, so also the idea that small steps are still progress. This has been really important. We've been on a bit of a journey in terms of evaluating the project. It has been evaluated by a team. We found a few things have been a bit tricky in between the way that it's been evaluated, which has been very much number focused and data focused. And that's been quite challenging, alongside kind of the people stories and the successes that we've seen within the groups. That's been a bit difficult, but we found that really small little things that people can change really does make a big difference in their life and in how they're feeling. So again, that theme of kind of not too much pressure, the idea that somebody could maybe put their phone down before they go to bed and read 2 or 3 pages of their book, that's progress, and over time that will make a change and they'll see that difference. I've tried to encourage people just to stick a book in their bag, so if they're on the bus or waiting for an appointment or something like that, if they've got the book with them, it's easier to sort of take the book out and use it. And those soft outcomes do kind of link nicely with the mental health support group that I've worked with quite a lot. It links to kind of the little things that they're kind of promoting to people, is just little tiny changes that just overall will make you feel better. That idea about the pressure, that's so important. What we've tried to do is just take the pressure off completely, and then encourage people just to enjoy kind of the process of reading and finding something that they like. The idea of reading non-fiction has been quite revolutionary to people. It had never occurred to them that they could pick up a book about gardening or photography or a travel book. They'd never thought about that. They thought that reading had to be a fiction book and it had to be a doorstop, and it was really off-putting. Very quickly, thinking about what libraries can learn from the experiences that I've spoken to people about, they're all on the screen there. It's not technically part of my job to report back to libraries, but obviously because of my background, I've done it anyway, and that's been a really interesting thing for me, because what I've been doing is having that opportunity to talk to people who are not using libraries and finding out a little bit about why that might be. And there's a lot of reasons. Some of them I would have expected, some of them have been a bit more surprising to me, but I think there's definitely work that can be done there in terms of sharing with libraries what it is that's putting people off from actually using them. You can see some of those examples on the screen. And the last is just my contact details if anybody wanted to know anything else. Thank you
so much. Thanks, Helen, and sorry for the technical difficulties there, but you handled it amazingly, so well done. So we've got 4 minutes according to my my little clock, although we have got a comfort break coming up, but I don't know if we've got a little bit of time for some questions, if Susie is out there.
Sure. So I'm going to call 2 questions, one for each of you. So then the other one could be thinking about the answer. Well, you've got that. So you've got 2 minutes each. So a question for Abby is, do your departments have social areas? That is the chair in a social area when it's in its place, or is it in an area where people are working? So that's the question for Abby. And the question for Helen to be thinking about is, you've shared all sorts of things about how the benefit has been for your clients, to use that word, but what's the best bit been for you personally? Because you shared with us last year, like the start of it, you've come back this year. What's been the best sort of either personally or that professional thing for you? So 1 question each. Over to you, Abby.
Okay. There's a mix is the answer to that one. Some departments do have a social area. So down at Fleets and at Park Road, they do have a social area. So it will go in the cafe or it will go in the recreational area. Other departments like sixth form, it just went in the corner of a classroom. And when it went up to health and beauty, it went in the waiting room, because we have external people come in and have their nails and hair done. It went in with the animals at Wigfield Farm. It actually went into a sty, and some children read to the animals there, which I was very disappointed to miss out on. So yeah, basically the idea is it's your chair. Everyone always asks, where do I need to put it? And that's up to them, wherever they think it will work. They have it for a week at the least, and if it's not working where they put it on Monday, they can move it somewhere else on Tuesday.
Thank you. Over to you, Helen.
So the answer about what I get out of it personally from doing it, just probably the biggest job satisfaction that I've ever had in any of the library jobs that I've done, because just to see those little breakthroughs with people, you sort of put the time in and you talk to them and you find the books and you try and match people up with the books. But when you get that right and they take something that they really like, they come back the next week and they can't get through the door fast enough to tell me that they've read a chapter, or they're really enjoying this, or they've found the quick reads are an amazing way in for people as well, and they might come back with a quick read. I really enjoyed this. What else can I read from this author? And it just kind of opens up that world, and it's so satisfying. You can see that what you're doing is making a difference, and there's nothing better than knowing that you are actually doing something that people are benefiting from, and it's helping them and they're feeling better.
Yeah, that's really interesting. There's been some comments in the chats about how much you can get from libraries for free, and just some people have been commenting the fact that, look at your local public library for ebook platforms, and Jenny's posted a message that says, several of my non-library friends were utterly amazed how much they could get free without paying for Audible. So kind of a lesson for everyone, really, because probably even us as librarians, there's things we probably don't know we can get from our local public library.
Definitely.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Helen. Thank you, Abby.